There's a big trend. I think we talked about this a little bit last year, but this was a big trend. One of the things that I'm really optimistic about that I just think is really interesting is that, so like one of the crazy things, and you were a big part of this, but one of the crazy things that happened in the 24 election was that the whole corporate media, what used to be called the mainstream media, which seems like a ridiculous title for them now, because like they're not the mainstream at all. But they kind of had to admit it was over. Like if there was
see a CBS clip?
Yeah. Where like, which is crazy that it's the first one. That you're the first one who mustered up the thought,
the courage.
Here, play it. Yeah,
and
this
they
is actually
sent
really
this white guy to do it too. And this is CBS says that starting today, they will be reporting the news more from the average American perspective rather than solely the opinions of the liberal elite.
It's just such a funny thing to announce that CBS is going to do news. You're like, hey guys, we're going to try something new here. All right, and this is a crazy thought. I had a crazy thought. We were workshopping this for a little while. What if we reported the news and not through an angle that always protects, Goldman Sachs? Yeah. Maybe we'll do it through an angle that's like for you. Yeah. Is that crazy?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
A lot has changed since the first person sat in this chair, but for me, the biggest difference is people do not trust us like they used to. And it's not just us, it's all of legacy media. And I get it. I get it because I've been hearing about it from just about everybody for more than 20 years as I've traveled America on this assignment or that. My mom's neighbors in West Virginia, my own neighbors in New York City, thousands and thousands of conversations in between. Sometimes people want to talk to me about our coverage of NAFTA or the Iraq War. Other times it's all about Hillary Clinton's emails or Russiagate. Or more recently, COVID lockdowns, Hunter Biden's laptop, or the president's fitness.
It's like, you mean when you ruined the country? Does that come up? Does it come up that you destroyed the greatest country in the history of the world?
That you had people fighting about shit that you knew wasn't real and never even an apology in any of that.
Yeah.
Dude, my neighbors and I didn't talk for like a year and a half because of the Russiagate shit. I was like, that's complete bullshit. I could just, immediately I knew when I saw it, like, none of this makes any sense. Russia? Yeah. Russia's a bunch of fucking rusted out vehicles.
Yeah.
All these
kids
stories. Carrying stone dolls made out of stone, which I respect because there's a lot of like, you really learn to do something if the doll is heavy. There's something about that I really respect. But I just knew it just seems so ridiculous. Yeah. Maybe 50 years ago, but not today.
Well, right. And then just like, as he just casually mentions, like, or lockdowns. It's like, oh yeah. Like when they turned our country into a totalitarian state, remember they did that for a year plus? And you guys did what? You're sitting here, you're the journalist. You have this role as the media, and you always talk about how important this role is, right? And then they lock down the country. And you decided in that moment, here's what we'll do. We'll demonize anybody who's skeptical of this. We'll call you names. We'll shame Americans for demanding some degree of basic liberty during a crisis. And then, by the way, you know what happens as a result of that when you do it? Which, by the way, there's been a ton of studies on this now. The lockdowns didn't even slow the spread of the goddamn virus. No. It wasn't even like there was a benefit that you got this cost in exchange for. It did nothing. The lockdown areas, the things spread just as badly as they did through non-lockdown areas. Mass compliance had nothing to do with anything. But you know what was real is how many families got broken up over lockdowns.
How many AA rooms were closed and people couldn't go to get recovery and ended up relapsing.
How many people fell off the wagon during lockdowns? How many people who were like on the edge ended up losing their apartment, ended up living outside on the street? All those guys, they got to live with that tragedy. Yeah. But your response is to go, finally, after all these years, I'll acknowledge some people were upset about this. We'll do it a little bit differently going forward. Like, shouldn't you resign in disgrace? Like, listen, I'm trying to be reasonable here. I really think you should fall on a Japanese sword in public in front of a lot of people. But I will accept resigning in disgrace and picking up garbage on the side of the road for the rest of your life.
And they've shunned that dude that got caught jerking off in the Zoom meeting, remember?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He faced more consequences. Tubin faced more consequences than any of these guys.
That dude, they made him come on.
Dude,
because he was jerking off during a Zoom meeting, which first of all, who doesn't want to jerk off during a freaking Zoom meeting? And who hasn't if most of your body's off screen?
But how do you not?
Yeah,
It's an impossible challenge.
But
is it crazy, Theo, that I get now, because I do this, whatever the weird career that I have is, but like I'll get all these people now, like high profile people who will be like talking shit about me. They'll be like, Dave Smith, what does he know? What does he know what he's talking about? He's some comedian. He's not an expert. And look, fair enough. What the fuck do I really know, right? I am just a comedian who's read a lot about this stuff, and I get on shows and I talk about like, it's like this, it's not like that. So like, fair enough, call me out. I'm just a guy, and if people want to listen, they can. If they don't have to. But I'll be arguing, like I'll be arguing on Twitter with Dinesh D'Souza, or recently David Wormser. Remember last time I was on
Wormser?
here? So I
Damn
remember
near
last
killed
year
her.
I told you about the clean break memo that it was the neocons wrote to Netanyahu to get away from the peace plan and to overthrow Saddam Hussein for Israel. So the guy who wrote it is now talking shit to me on Twitter. The neocon, he was at the Pentagon, he was at the State Department, and they'll say things to me like, they'll be like, Dave, this guy's a comedian. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You go, dude, you were the architect of the war in Iraq. Go away forever. Yeah. Like, you don't get to come out here and go, who does this guy think he is? Who do I think I am? You got 1 million people killed and didn't get punished for it. Just kindly go away. Is that an unreasonable request?
I know.
Like, but anyway, the CBS guy, I guess what's interesting is at least he's acknowledging it.
I guess.
At least
it's
there's
just
like,
bizarre.
Now, by the way, also in the background of this is that CBS News was just purchased by the Israel lobby.
Yes.
And so this is their, yes, I'm sure we can really trust you now.
Yep. Let's play a little bit more of that clip of the guy that was talking.
Fitness for office. The point is, on too many stories, the press has missed the story because we've taken into account the perspective of advocates and not the average American. Or we put too much weight in the analysis of academics or elites and not enough on you. And I know this because at certain points, I have been you. I have felt this way too. I felt like what I was seeing and hearing on the news didn't reflect what I was seeing and hearing in my own life.
We're living in a dystopian time, bro.
Yeah, it's like, and then is it too much for me to ask that you resign in disgrace?
Right.
You know, like, or in disgust, I should say. Like, I'm saying, like, if you're going, I've felt that same way too at times. Well, then what the fuck, man? Like, no one's putting a gun to your head. So leave and blow the whistle and become all of our hero.
Yes.
And go have the biggest podcast ever. You know, like, it's not even like a difficult thing to have done. It's not even like there is more culpability for you than there was for the average Nazi soldier. At least the average Nazi soldier was like, I'll get shot in the head if I don't do this, you know? Like, you had nothing except giving up a $10 million salary or something like that. Like, you know, and by the way, you could still go make lots of money because the people would rally around you if you did something like that. And like, it's like when there's that tape of
if you're not going to tell the truth, what are you like? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
that's your job,
right? It's like, but it's like if you're not going to try your best to figure it out, I don't know. It just, I couldn't imagine sitting there regurgitating lies. Like, just how much it would make you crawl on the inside.
Yeah. No, it's an amazing ability. I mean, I've been close up with it, and it was one of the things when I debated Chris Cuomo. It was like one of the things that really was like, it was startling to see because how comfortable he was just lying, like lying through his teeth, a demonstrable lie. Like I would say, like, there was one point in it, and the Patrick Bet-David production staff, always be grateful to them because, man, they got my back that day and they had the clip. They pulled it up real quick, but he went, look, I don't think the guys at CNN should have mocked Joe Rogan for taking ivermectin. And I went, you did. Yeah. You mocked Joe Rogan for taking ivermectin. And he goes, no, I didn't. I go, yes, you did. I've seen it. I've watched you do it. And then he goes, no, I didn't. And then they pull up a clip of him going, Joe Rogan, ivermectin, horse dewormer. And the entire room, because it was a live show, the entire room goes, oh. And then he goes, oh, no. I was saying like the veterinary version, not the regular version. You go, what version do you think Joe Rogan was taking? You think Joe Rogan went to the pet store? Like, yeah, he's got a few bucks. I don't know if you've heard, you know, but
he's at a fucking Petco.
Yeah.
You think he drove and parked at a Petco and walked in there past the gerbil cages?
Like, believe it or not, Joe Rogan can afford doctors.
That's the part where they're grooming the dogs right in the front when you walk in.
Hi, I'm world famous Joe Rogan. I was here to pick up some ivermectin. I have a prescription for my dog I'd like to fill.
Oh, you got worms, Joe, huh?
But these people who work in corporate media, man, they get real comfortable just saying like a knowing lie that they will just repeat because that's the business. But the thing that's interesting to me, and this is the last year, right, is that they admitted it. Because this was true 5 years ago, too. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, Rogan had a much bigger audience than CNN had, but they would still pretend like he was the fringe and they were the mainstream media.
Yes.
But after Trump got reelected, they admitted it. They all said, we need our own Joe Rogan. And, like, they admitted that the podcasting is where it was. And part of that is because Trump very wisely, and I guess I've heard that it was his son who convinced him to do it, but he went on your show and Joe's show and Andrew's show and, you know, like some of the other ones. Nelk Boys. Yeah, I don't know them, but like, yeah, they're huge, I've learned. And so he rode this kind of podcast wave where the new media was. He went to them.
It was smart of him.
Very smart. And then there were and I thought it was really, like, even when on your show with him, one of the things that was cool, like, we've never really seen that just like in the middle of a presidential season where a president comes in and just doesn't really talk politics. Talks about like his brother's struggle with alcoholism, and you're like, oh wow, we kind of get to see a candidate in a new way. Now, one of the things I think that's interesting about this now, what's happened over this last year, is that a lot of those guys, and I remember arguing about this with people at the time, but they were kind of like, oh, now the problem is that all these podcast bros are just Trump stands now, and they're all gonna just, you know, support him no matter what. And I was like, no, I don't think so, dude. Yeah. Like, I don't think
that's never been the thing.
And so what's interesting is that this whole media environment, like, if JD Vance wants to be president, like, I'm not saying he has to come do your show, but he kind of has to come do your show. He kind of has to go do Rogan's show. He kind of has to like do, or at least he's turning down a big opportunity not to. And so,
and it will be known by people, I think, if you don't go do Joe's show, if you don't do, you know, I'm trying to think of like Schultz's show, that
you got to at least do some of them,
or go sit with Tim Dillon.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Well, because you know this will do huge numbers,
right? And you know though that it will be that Joe's going to do his best job to be, you know, he's going to do what he does best, which is he's the best to do it.
But I just think
it's
that
not going to be controlled.
Right, that's the thing.
Yes.
And they're going to have to answer some questions next time.
The wildest thing to me is how kind of accessible everything kind of seems. It's like the fact that like comedians are trying to be comedians. Well, we're comedians, you know, comedians like ourselves or people that have started a podcast at some point, that the fact that we're all that, I don't know, sometimes it just blows my mind.
Well, it's crazy. It's a crazy
that we're involved in it somehow. Not involved like in an egotistical way, like we have some, but it's like, yeah, it's just like, what the fuck are we doing, dude? And it's only because the news just completely fucking shit itself.
Well, there was a weird thing that happened at the exact same time. There were these two phenomenons where number one was that the media had like been exposed in a really big way. And there were a lot of issues they were exposed on, but I do think the two most devastating ones to them were COVID and Biden's senility. Because the two things are that, number one, like, I mean, there was WMDs in Iraq really degraded the institutions and things like that. The Obama recovery, there were a lot of things. Russiagate was a big thing. But like, if you look at, say, I remember arguing with people about this, a couple people who I like and respect, but I was arguing with them about, so when I was supporting Trump in 2024, they were like, dude, what are you doing? You had all these criticisms of Trump his first term. He did all these bad things, and now you're supporting him. And I was like, look, man, this is going to destroy the corporate media. And that's like the most important thing in America right now. Now, what they said, their counter to me, and at the time we were guessing because we didn't know where this was going to go, but their counter was, they go, yeah, but Dave, last time Donald Trump came in, the media ratings actually went through the roof. Like MSNBC and CNN got higher ratings out in 2016 when Trump came in. And I was like, yeah, but that's because of Russiagate. They got everyone to watch because they said they had this bombshell story. And then that turned into nothing. But the big difference now is after COVID and after Biden being senile, no one trusts those guys anymore. So they're not going to come back. And I turned out to be right about that prediction. Like the numbers didn't go back up this time. And so anyway, there is something there where like, COVID affected everybody. It wasn't like the war in Iraq. Like, yeah, you kind of know they lied us into war and a whole bunch of people over there died. And maybe if you know someone who went over and served, you know, and if you're lower on the socioeconomic scale, you're more likely to know someone. But like, A lot of people don't know anyone who went over to Iraq, and it didn't really happen here. It happened over there, you know? And yeah, we deal with the occasional terrorist attack or something like that, but like it did. But COVID changed it affected everybody's life directly, and it all got proven to be bullshit. Yeah. And then Joe Biden, it was just, you don't need to pick up a book or even read an article to look at Joe Biden, and the average guy could just go, yeah, this guy's clearly has lost it, and you're lying to me. And so that happened at the same time. The media blew every major crisis of the 21st century, lied through their teeth, and were exposed. And the technology got to a point where essentially you would have needed like a multi-million-dollar budget to have a studio and a show just a decade ago or 2 decades ago. Whereas now we live in an environment where some random guy can just post something, and then he'll have like the CEO of the Daily Wire going, "This kid's a bigot." You know, did you see that not the CEO, it was the some higher up at the Daily Wire tweeted some kid who made like a video. He had asked a question at a Turning Point event and then made some video. And then he goes, "Look at the Nazi youth scum." So like some regular, like the point is, when we were younger, it would have been impossible for you to even get the attention of that guy.
Oh,
like,
if you'd ever got, who was the guy on the Today Show, the black guy, kind of chubby, lost a lot of weight.
Oh yeah, Al Roker.
Yeah, you would have never been able to get Al Roker's
you can't talk
attention.
to Al Roker. That's Al Roker, dude.
That's Al fucking Roker, dude.
Yeah, it's like,
that's Al.
Yeah, like there's like maybe you would see a famous person on the street one day and that'd be like exciting. But the idea that now some kid, some 25-year-old like right-wing kid could get like a journalist at the New York Times furious, you know, and like and even this story, which I got to say I am a little bit skeptical of, the kid Shirley, I think is his name, right? Because I saw one, because I did see the other day that CBS, I believe it was, did send a camera crew down to one of those places that he claims were, and there were kids there and stuff, and so it was not exactly what he was representing it to be. Well, I do think there's probably widespread fraud there, but I'm just saying, making the point that this guy, at least to me, was an unknown entity as of last week. He got like, last I had seen, it was over 100 million views on the video. And so it's not CNN who's breaking that story. It's not NBC or CBS.
Because nobody believes them anymore. Yeah. They've lost their credibility. I mean, they're sitting here semi-apologizing for not even really apologizing, just saying, trying to mildly admit something. Like, shouldn't there be a class action lawsuit against them?
Yeah.
Is there any code of liability? Like, could there be a class action lawsuit against them for
something?
Just
yeah, well, that's right. It's not even like you go to jail or there's a lawsuit, but how about just like mass firings?
Yeah.
Resignation, something. No, instead, and then for anyone paying attention, you're like, dude, we know what just happened. The Israel lobby just purchased you. Barry Weiss is now in charge because you guys are bleeding support. You're not even in the business of news. You're in the business of an agenda, obviously, right? Like, it's almost like, so I don't even like, sometimes with people like Barry Weiss and Ben Shapiro and all these guys, people who are sure not fans of mine, but it's like, I would at least just admit you're the Israel lobby. Then at least we could have an honest conversation. At least admit your priority here is Israel. And then we could talk about
just skewing things pro-Israel.
Yes.
Like, they just had those announcements of like that they need, who was the guy who just said we have to adjust social media or we're going to lose the First Amendment? Did you see that guy?
Oh, yeah. Right. Yes. I did see the video and bookmark it. I forget what the guy's title was. But also just these people are like so concerned about, they'll be like, you know, there's this rise of anti-Semitism. And like, fair enough. I personally, and maybe I'm biased because I'm Jewish, so maybe I'm not, you know, the one to speak on this. But like personally, I've always been very critical of Israel and the Israel lobby, but I'm not like critical of Jews. I have regular people, and you shouldn't judge individuals based on groups. I'm against collectivism, unlike Sohran Mamdani. I'm an individualist. But if you're real concerned that there's a rise in hatred toward Jews, isn't it kind of reasonable to go like, maybe you shouldn't have prominent Jews out there saying we're going to repeal the First Amendment? Like, maybe that's not helpful.
Yeah, I don't know if this does help. I mean, I just don't understand why this guy, just in Israel cybersecurity billionaire Shlomo Kramer says it's time to limit the First Amendment. We need to control all the social platforms and take control of what they are saying. Let's see this.
I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it, and quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government should control the social media.
Yeah, that's what you want to hear out of a
Fuck
thick Israeli accent.
But fuck anybody who says that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. No, you're my enemy now.
Yeah, you're the enemy, dude. You're going to control what we say in order to, but this is the crazy part, to protect the First Amendment.
It's George W. Bush's line about the free market. Is he said when they asked him about the banker bailouts. They go, I thought you were supposed to be a free market guy. Now all of a sudden you like socialism when it's big banks that fail. And he said, I had to abandon the free market to save the free market. That sure is a nice way of saying nothing. Actually, you just abandon it. You didn't save it at all. You just bailed out a bunch of rich bankers. And actually, government taking control of what people are allowed and not allowed to say isn't preserving the First Amendment. That's just, this is straight up Orwellian newspeak.
But
like,
we're just, everything is, there's another level of control. I feel like it's never been more obvious that there's another level of control, but
Yes.
but also that people are nervous because I don't know if you'd have a guy saying this sort of thing. I mean,
they're freaking out.
A lot of social platforms. I know TikTok just got bought by Ellison from Oracle, and there's a lot of concern that they're gonna try and limit or dictate what can be said on there,
Yeah, well, that's what all of this is about. And this is kind of what I meant by like, at least just be honest with it. Look, like the reason this guy's saying this and the reason they just bought TikTok and the reason Barry Weiss was just installed at CBS News is all for one obvious reason, which it's the letter that Charlie Kirk wrote to Benjamin Netanyahu. And Benjamin Netanyahu, right after Charlie Kirk got murdered, read a couple lines from that letter, but he didn't read the whole letter.
Did he write him a letter? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So the letter basically says, we're getting killed out here. The Israel side is getting annihilated.
Dear Mr. Prime Minister, one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with the Jews in the fight to protect Judeo-Christian civilization.
So Netanyahu reads that part. It doesn't mention any of the rest of this.
Most recently, I'm proud to have taken over Ambassador Huckabee's show on TBN, where we continually support Israel and the Jewish people. My team and I have spent months analyzing these trends and debating ideas that could help you and your country push back against the disturbing developments. Anti-Israel sentiment can undermine American support for Israel. The purpose of this letter is to lay out your concerns and outline.
If you get down to it later, I mean, he basically what he's just saying here is like, listen, he has a whole proposal for what Israel has to do for their new PR strategy, but he's very brutally honest. And he's like, you guys are getting killed with the young people here. And so anyway, that's just the point, is that all of this, that's why you're talking about limiting the First Amendment, because everyone's talking about how evil the Israeli regime is. Everyone's talking about how much undue influence they have over our government.
So why not just be...
Just be honest about that.